Hey everybody, welcome to the NBA edition of the AyerMax podcast. I'm Nick Lomax, joined as always by Justin Ayers.
How's it going, everybody?
And today we're going to start off with one of our favorite segments, the Hype Train. First off, we have D-Wade and how he's going to do this year for the Cavs. Personally, I think D-Wade is going to have a pretty good year. I think he'll bounce back from being with the Bulls. Having a player like LeBron James is always a good thing. He makes everyone around him better. Yeah, he's getting kind of old, but the Cavs have a little bit more depth this year, and I think they'll be able to rest him. The NBA did change their schedule to incorporate a little bit more rest time, so I think that'll be good for D-Wade, and I think he'll have a pretty good year. What are your thoughts, Justin?
Well, I think when you look at a player such as Dwayne Wade, you have to look at what he is now as opposed to what he was, say, 10 years ago. You're not going to get 30 points a game out of this guy. You're not going to see the same kind of just dominance and the force he was out there on the floor. So you kind of have to look at, he's the 35-year-old player. The body's got a ton of mileage on it. He's been banged up. But I absolutely think he could be a really great role player for the Cavs. Obviously, him and LeBron are like best friends, so they got the little camaraderie going on there. He's a valuable piece, and my good sir, I would like one ticket on the hype train, please.
Oh, definitely. I think it'll be a good year. And I think even though he's older, he'll definitely do a little better. I know he's been a little injury prone just because he's older and all, but I think being on a bad team definitely makes injuries worse. So I think that the fact that he's on the Cavs, he'll have a better shot at definitely winning a title. I think he'll be more eager to play through those little aches and pains that he gets all season long.
Absolutely. So next up, we're going to see about the Oklahoma City Thunder. This team in the offseason made probably some of the most shocking and dramatic moves, acquiring Paul George and Carmelo Anthony over the offseason. So Nick, I want to get your opinion on this. Are you boarding the hype train for the Oklahoma City Thunder?
Definitely. I think they could be top three team, or one of the top three teams in the NBA. I'm a big Paul George fan. Russell Westbrook, as always, is really good, and then the addition of Carmelo Anthony will really help out. I think that they'll definitely be number 2 in the West. I think they'll overtake the Rockets without a problem. They're experiencing a little bit of difficulties with Chris Paul. He's going to be out maybe for a month, so that'll definitely slow the roll with him and Harden getting kind of meshed together. But I'm definitely going to hop on my train for the Thunder, and I think it'll be a good year for them.
All right, so this one is tough. On one hand, you have Russell Westbrook finally getting the help he so desperately needed with Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. But I have there's a few question marks here. One, when Mr. Triple-Double himself, Russell Westbrook, finally needs a rest, are you going to get the same kind of production? I mean, obviously not the same kind of production, but are you going to get some kind of production as a backup point guard and off the bench? How is the big three going to mesh? These are all three guys that crave the ball, especially Carmelo. Where you look at the team like the Warriors, where it's a team over self mentality, are you going to have that same kind of thing going on in Oklahoma? Also, can Carmelo Anthony prove he can finally stay healthy the entire year? That's going to be a big thing. He's been banged up like the last 5 or 6 years, it feels like. So this one's tough. I feel like I'm going to have to pass on a ticket on the hype train here. I'll probably just end up walking or take the bus or something. Last up on the arrivals board to board the hype train, we have Mr. Lonzo Ball of the Big Baller Brand family. Nick, I want to get your take. Are you buying a ticket to board the Lonzo Ball hype train?
I will buy board the Lonzo Ball hype train. I think he will be a very good point guard. I just don't think he's going to live up to the hype that his father kind of surrounded him with. I think his dad will actually help his career. Playing in a market like LA is never easy. It's just like being the shortstop for the New York Yankees. You're going to have a lot of media. But he's been in the media his whole life thanks to his over-the-top father. I think that's going to help him a lot. He's already used to it. He had a pretty rough game his first time out, and his second game, he bounced back, even though it was against the Suns. I think he'll be a good point guard, and I think he'll eventually smooth into it, and maybe not this year, but next year, we'll see what he really can do, and I think it'll be good.
I think for Lonzo Ball, this is an easy decision. The conversation around Lonzo has never been centered around his poor performance. It has always been centered around the cartoon character of a father he has. I mean, this is a kid who, his freshman year at UCLA, averaged the most assists in all of college basketball. I mean, he has the passing skills, his otherworldly passing skills. He has excellent court vision. He's going to be a fantastic ball player for the Lakers. So 100%, he'd be fantastic out there in LA. But why did I hear you talking up LeVar Ball? You really think he could have taken MJ one-on-one?
I do LeVar Ball in the fact that he got his kids extremely noticed, and he is marketing his brand very well. I mean, it's everywhere, and he got free advertisement from ESPN. So, on that sense, genius. But the fact that he could take on MJ, that's a pretty bold statement even for him.
I don't know how much of an asset having a human meme as a father can really help your NBA career, but I don't know. We'll see. It could be something. So next up, we're going to break out a new segment for you guys. We're going to look inside the AyerMax crystal ball. Ooh. Great graphics we have there. So first up, we're going to do a little NBA Finals predictions. We're going to look into the crystal ball for the NBA Finals. Nick, who are the two teams you see duking it out this June?
In the finals, I'm going to take the Warriors and the Cavs. I know it's kind of a boring pick, but I don't see anyone knocking off the Cavs in the East, and the Warriors are just too dominant to be stopped. Barring injury, that is, but that's who I see in the final, just like the past 3 years. And I'm going to take the Warriors to win it, just like they did last year.
God, that is so boring, taking the exact same teams every single year. Oh, look, originally, when I was making my predictions, I had the Celtics going against the Warriors in the finals, but then Gordon Hayward happened, and it's kind of hard to come back from an injury like that, so I had to kind of take them off. So I went to my number 2 team. So in the finals, I predict it will be the Golden State Warriors versus, drumroll, the Washington Wizards. Yes, DC family. DC3 will be in the final. They're going to take down the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals to make it to the big dance, only to be swept in 4 games by Steph and the Warriors. Next up, we'll gaze into the AyerMax crystal ball to do a little primetime game NBA picking. Wednesday night ESPN, Thursday night TNT. Shout out Inside the NBA, one of the best TV shows out there. So for Wednesday, game 1, we have the Spurs. They're in Miami taking on the Heat. Nick, who is your pick?
Spurs all the way. I think they'll have Kawhi Leonard back then. I think he'll definitely be the difference maker. Kawhi is a beast, and I don't think the Heat will be able to beat them.
Yeah, I had the same thing. The Spurs are actually, they're going to flip the script, and they're going to turn the heat up on the Heat. So bad, Miami will be craving the air conditioning once this is all over. Spurs with the W. So next up, ESPN Primetime Game 2, we have the DC family taking on the Big Baller Brand family, the Washington Wizards at the Lakers. Nick, who are you taking?
I'm going to go with the Lakers, and Lonzo's going to have a big game.
I am going to take the Washington Wizards. This is for the second time already in the Crystal Ball segment. But yeah, Wizards are going to go into LA, take down Lonzo. So next up, Thursday night primetime games. We have the big one. Celtics are going to be at the Bucks. Nick, who are we taking?
I'm going to go with I think the Celtics are still kind of trying to learn how to play together with all the new components put in there. The Bucks are relatively the same team as last year, so I'm going to stick with them.
I think that the Celtics night, just like the Greek Freak's last name, will be very long. I'm predicting the Bucks will come out on top. Last up, we have a battle of teams that are rarely on primetime. We have the Pelicans are going to be at the Sacramento Kings. Nick, who are we taking?
I'm going to go with the Pelicans. I'm a big fan of Anthony Davis, and I'm pretty sure he'll shut down
the brow Anthony Davis. Yes, so I'm kind of feeling the same thing. I think that the Pelicans will steal away this victory just like a french fry on the boardwalk. And finally tonight, we're going to introduce another brand new segment to you guys. This is called Around the League. Alright, so what Around the League is kind of a news roundup, just a collection of headlines or things that we found interesting going on in the league right now. First up, one thing I came across I found was hilarious. So the television network in Chicago, WGN, they recently just cut a hilarious new promo for the upcoming Bulls season on the network. As we talked about this a little bit earlier, the Bulls have completely stripped the roster of all notable talent. We have no Dwayne Wade, no Rajon Rondo. We're going with a whole bunch of people you've never heard of. Television promo for this, the basic premise of the promo is that the players have to be introduced with like one of those name tags that says, "Hi, my name is," for 3 of their stars. Again, they have 3 stars. I watched this clip 1,000 times. I still can't name them. Yeah, so I thought that was something hilarious. All right, so lastly, in the Around the League segment, something that's kind of an epidemic at this point. It is, of course, players getting into it with fans in the stands. So we are like, 2 or 3 games into the NBA season, and we already have 2 just legit stars going at it with fans in the stands. The first one, Pelican center DeMarcus Cousins. They were playing the Memphis Grizzlies, and he got into it with a female Grizzlies fan. What happened is that they were throwing F-bombs at each other and flipping each other off, which I didn't know that's what you do in arguments. But yeah, and he was fined $25,000 for this. After the game, DeMarcus Cousins said, and I'm going to quote this, quote, "The ref sat there and heard the fans speaking to me in a very nasty way. I shouldn't have responded to it, but I'm a human being, and I'm also a grown man. I'm not going to let another person just disrespect me." First of all, DeMarcus, if you were being a grown man, you wouldn't have gotten into it with a female fan. A female fan. That's something you don't do. Respect to that woman for having the cojones to get into it with DeMarcus Cousins, of all people. Good Lord. Secondly, DeMarcus, you are 6'11". You weigh almost 300 pounds. You should have way thicker skin than this. It is absolutely ridiculous. Who cares if somebody is trash talking you? It's not hurting you, DeMarcus. Just look the other way. You don't have to get involved. Look what Ron Artest got involved, and look what happened to him. I mean, Jesus. If we had to pick players today, by the way, who would be most likely to pull a Ron Artest and just charge into the stands, absolutely, it's DeMarcus Cousins. And this guy has just no tolerance for trash talk in the league, and he is acting like a child.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous that him being a man in a league that he's going to get into it, whether it's a female, whether it's a child, man, coach, player. He should be able to control himself a little bit better than that. I do think it's ridiculous, and that he should be kind of punished for this because he's done this multiple times. But you can't really expect more from him at this point. So it is what it is.
This guy is supposed to be a role model. I look at NBA players as a role model for kids growing up saying, hey, I want to be like this guy. Here's a little PSA for the kids out there. When you grow up, do not want to be like DeMarcus Cousins. Just find somebody else. And be like Anthony Davis. Just don't shave your unibrow. But the other one, Kyrie Irving, this is when the Celtics were playing the Sixers. The Celtics were walking back to the tunnel, and some Sixers fan had his phone out, and he shouted down, he said, "Hey, Kyrie, where's LeBron?" And Kyrie responded with, "Hey, suck my," and you can fill. We know where that one's going. This one's different than DeMarcus, because they weren't like going at it, they weren't like sparring. I thought it was kind of funny, to be honest. I don't know what you thought.
Yeah, it's one of those where you don't think that you're being recorded. You just kind of respond without thinking real quick. I'm not going to read too much into that one because Kyrie doesn't have a history of doing this. And I don't think he meant it in like a malicious way or to even be rebellious or whatever you want to call it. I think it was just something that kind of, he was in the game mode and just kind of let it roll off his tongue. Not a big deal.
Right? Everybody's got their phone and camera on, right?
Yeah, it's the society you live in. You gotta expect it. No matter if it's 2 a.m. in front of a club or if it's in the stands, no matter where you're at, or even in the locker room. You've seen it with athletes.
Always being recorded.
You gotta be ready for it at all times, and just carry yourself with a better demeanor.
Exactly. So DeMarcus bad, Kyrie. Lastly tonight, we're gonna bring you a couple sleeper teams that we feel like can make some noise coming into the NBA season this year. So, by a sleeper team, we mean a team that can maybe sneak into the 8th spot in the conference playoffs. Some team that can maybe like make a good stretch run. So, I want to start with you, Nick. Give me one sleeper team for this year.
I'm going to go Timberwolves. I know it's not really like sneaking into the 8th seed because they're a little better than that. But I think they're going to surprise some people once they mesh. I'm hoping that Jimmy Butler kind of rubs off on Andrew Wiggins and kind of gives him that killer instinct. And gets him playing to where he was hyped up to be. If he can do that, then they can be some serious contenders and do a lot of damage. And that's going to be my sleeper team.
All right, so for my sleeper team, we've talked a lot about the Pelicans tonight, but they're going to be my sleeper team. You have the Twin Towers, Boogie in the Brow, which, by the way, that sounds like a great name for a 70s cop show. But yeah, Boogie in the Brow out there. You have Rajon Rondo will be coming in about a couple months or so, coming off injury. They have Drew Holiday. I mean, this is a roster. I could definitely see them sneaking in for the 8th seed. So that just about wraps things up here. Nick, any parting words of wisdom?
Nope, just make subscribe to our channel. Help us. Any comments down below would be greatly appreciated. And let us know what we could do better. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Let us know what you all think.
On the Twitter and Instagram, we are at AyerMax Media. All right, so for AyerMax Media, I am Justin Ayers.
I'm Nick Lomax.
Signing off.